name is Vaishnavi Vaishnav Deshmukh. Today's topic is compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Difference between. Today's date is 15 December 2020. Now I firstly discuss in the what is compile time and runtime polymorphism in Java. The word of polymorphism means having a many forms in a single word. We can be define a polymorphism as the ability to the message to display in the more than one form in these articles. We will be see the difference between two types of polymorphism, compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. The compile time polymorphism, whenever we can be the object and bound the functionality compile time, and this is known as the compile time polymorphism. At a compile time, Java is known which is the method to call by the checking the method signature. So this is the called as compile time polymorphism or static or early binding. Compile time polymorphism is achieved through the method overloading, and method overloading say you can have more than one function with the same name and one class having the different photo types. And function is the overloading is one of the way of achieve the polymorphism, but depend the technically and which type of the polymorphism is add up. In Java we can be achieve the function of overloading is compile time. The following example were compile time polymorphism and observe. Then it is the discussing runtime polymorphism. The runtime polymorphism, whenever and the object is bound with a functionality at a runtime, this is known as the runtime polymorphism. The runtime polymorphism can be achieved the method overloading Java virtual machine. Determine the proper method call of the runtime or not all the compiler time. It is also called as dynamic or late binding method overriding, and say that the child class has the same method as declared in the parent class. It means the child classes provide the specific implementation of method that been provided by the parent class and then known as the method overloading. The following examples is runtime polymorphism. Then it discusses the main difference between a compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. In a compile time polymorphism, resolves by the compiler, and runtime polymorphism to the call the resolves by the compiler. Then it is runtime polymorphism. It is also known as the static binding, early binding, and overloading as well. It is also known as the dynamic binding, late binding, and overloading its way. The method overloading is the compile time polymorphism, and where the more than method share the same name but different parameters from the signature and parameters different return time. Then it is the compile time. The method overridings is the time polymorphism having the same method with the same parameter signature and assign the with compare different classes. Then it is the compile time polymorphism. It is the achievely function overloading and operating overloading. Runtime polymorphism is it is the achieve the virtual function and points. Compile time polymorphism is provided and executing because the method that needed executing is known as early to compile time. And runtime polymorphism it is provide the executing as a compiler early to binding because the method that needs to executing in the known as runtime. The compile time polymorphism is less flexible as the thing execute compile time. And runtime polymorphism is the more than flexible all the thinking executing runtime. In the compile time polymorphism is the inheritance is not evoked, and runtime polymorphism is inheritance is invoked. This is a main difference between of a compile time and runtime polymorphism in a Java.